evening, everybody, and welcome to the Football Philosophy channel. This is about Manchester United and the game away where they lost in Basaksehir in Turkey. They got beat 2-1 last night. Terrible performance. And this is the Rating the Rating show, where I take the ratings from one of the major outlets and I give my opinion on the ratings that they've given to the individual players, like most of the outlets to do. I've not even looked at every. I just pick them randomly. I just scroll through, and I just picked on the Daily Express. There's no reason why I picked it, so I picked on the Daily Express this evening. So I'll get straight into it. Dean Henderson in goal. They've given Dean Henderson a 6. They've said he had no chance with any of the goals, which is perfectly true. My own opinion is his distribution was okay. He couldn't do anything with the goals. I'm not sure whether he might be. I think he's got to shoulder part of the blame for the second goal, in the way that there was nobody on the halfway line defending. The defenders and the keeper should really be coming out of his box, and he should be controlling that back four. So I don't know what the communication levels are like between obviously he's brand new to the first team squad at United, but the keeper really should be making sure somebody's on the halfway line. He must have been absolutely amazed that there was nobody back there defending. I don't know whether he's not thinking that he can speak to the skipper, Harry Maguire, and say, look what's going on here. But I think he maybe has to shoulder some of the blame for that. But overall, I think his distribution was good, and I think maybe a 6 is a little bit too low for Dean there. So I'm going to give him a 7 out of 10. Daily Express have given him 6. Aaron Wan-Bissaka. They've mentioned that he got into good attacking positions, but really can't get decent crosses into the box, which I think is a fair comment. Defensively, as ever, he was sound, so a lot of good tackles. They've given him a 5 out of 10. I think that's a fair mark. I'll agree with that. I give Aaron a 5 out of 10 for last night. Harry Maguire, they've given him 5. They've mentioned that they think he was partly at fault with the second goal. It's an arguable point. The ball comes across from the left. He's behind Demba Ba. Demba Ba lets the ball run. I'm not sure. I think it's a little bit harsh, but overall he didn't have a great game. For me, they haven't mentioned this, but for me, there's too many long passes that people couldn't keep in. Probably 3 or 4 times he's played balls from the right hand channel across to the left, or the opposite way around, and just over somebody's head, and it goes out as touch. So I think, they talk about a ball playing centre back. For me, Maguire's distribution's got to improve, if I'm honest. So although I think the Express have gone in on him for the goal, I don't think that's fair. I think a 5 out of 10 is fair, though. Axel, they've given Axel a 4 out of 10, and they've said he was lucky not to get a red card. I've got my own take on that, about the red card. I do agree he was lucky not to get a red card, because he hauled somebody down who was chasing through. I think it was Demba Ba again, chasing through onto a bouncing ball. I don't think he was ever going to get the ball. I'm not one for trying to get people sent off. I'm not one for saying whether it's our players or somebody else's players. But I've got my own take. You may or not find it interesting. Personally, I think it's interesting. And my question is why did he bring him down? And the answer is obvious. He dragged him down because he thought he was going to get onto that. He wouldn't have dragged him down if Axel thought the ball was going to run through to the goalkeeper comfortably. He wouldn't bring him down, would he? So he brought him down because he thought he was going to get a goal scoring opportunity. So I don't know what you think about that. You make your own mind up. Should that be a red card? Because obviously he dragged him down because he thought he had a goal scoring opportunity. Is that not a good enough reason? So it's just a point. I've often thought that over the years. They say, he was never going to get it. But why did the defender bring him down? He brought him down because he thought he was going to get a goal scoring opportunity. But overall, I don't think Axel had a good game. That's my own take on that. I'm not saying he should have got a red card, by the way. It's just my little thoughts on it. But anyway, they give him a 4, and I think it's fair. I'll stick with a 4. Luke Shaw, Daily Express have given Luke Shaw 5. I think 5's fair for Luke Shaw. He put a great ball in for Marshall's goal. He was possibly our most dangerous player, really. He put a couple of decent crosses over. I think his passing let him down a little bit in their half. In his own half, when he had a bit of time and space, he was good. But I remember one pass in particular where it drops in front of him and he tried to hit Marshall's feet, who was 5 yards in front of him, and it missed him by 3 yards or something. Marshall didn't have a prayer of getting it. He should have done better. And there was a couple of little passes where it was just a yard wide of the person who had aimed at. I think his passing let him down a little bit in their half when he was under a bit of pressure. But in general, overall, he was okay, and he did make the goal with a beautiful ball in, and he had to beat his man to get that ball in, so he did well there. But they've given him a 5. I think it's probably fair. I'd stick with a 5 for sure. His passing let him down a little bit, as I say. Matic, now then, this is going to be an unusual one. Everybody knows my thoughts about Matic. I've always been a massive Nemanja Matic fan. A lot of people on Twitter think that I'm Matic's agent or whatever about him. So this might surprise people. In the Express, they've given him a 6, and I think that's generous. He did okay in the main, but he's normally really good with his passing into people's feet, and when he gets the ball sort of in a old-fashioned left-out position, he plays it out to the wing. 3 times he put Shaw in trouble by under it in or over it in the pass. 2 or 3 times into the striker's feet, it was getting intercepted too easily. I thought his passing, in the Daily Express they said some nice touches, but didn't do enough. I'm pleased that they didn't mention in the Express, because a lot of people on Twitter are calling Matic out because of his involvement or lack of involvement in the first goal, where obviously Demba Ba raced all the way from the halfway line with nobody challenging him. I won't go into it in depth. I've explained it on the other video, the video called The Shambles in Istanbul. If you want to have a look at that video, you'll see what I've said about that. It should have been a defender who was back. It shouldn't be Matic, but you do not leave. I won't say any more on this subject, but you do not all go forward. Not Lindelof, Maguire, Tuanzebe and Luke Shaw all in the penalty area without leaving somebody on the halfway line. I go into it in more depth, as I say, on the video Shambles in Istanbul if you want to see that. But I'm glad the Daily Express didn't mention that. I'm glad they didn't, and I don't think they should have done. But but overall, I think Nemanja Matic, I'm going to mark him down to a 5. The Express have given him a 6. I think it's a little bit generous. Now then, this one astonished me. Donny van der Beek, they've said, failed to stake his claim. I thought Donny van der Beek was absolutely superb. That's what I thought. Lovely first touch, spatial awareness, aware of where his teammates are. Obviously, everybody lost it. Some people lost it a hell of a lot. He lost it 5 or 6 times perhaps, but not as many as other people did. And he's always looking for the incisive pass that might give somebody in a bit of space in the final third. I thought Donny van der Beek had a great game, and to be honest, when he got substituted, I thought it was a criminal substitution by Ollie. I thought he was our brightest spark, Donny van der Beek, and yet the Daily Express have said he failed to stake a claim and marked him down as a 4. I'm giving him 6 out of 10, Donny van der Beek. I thought he was, maybe superb's a little bit over the top, but I thought he had a really good game. And then this one, completely the opposite way round. Bruno, they've given him a 5. They've said a quiet evening by his own standards. A quiet evening by his own standards. I've deliberately, this wasn't the Daily Express, of course. I've deliberately pulled the one out from the weekend that was in the wherever we did it at the weekend. I think it was it Sky Sports? I can't remember. It doesn't really matter. When we played Arsenal, he got a 4 out of 10. And it said, wherever I read it at the weekend, it said risks are part of the game, but he gave the ball away to a maddening level, and it's not an aberration. So whichever outlet that was, I can't quite remember off the top of my head, at the weekend, they're suggesting that he was awful against Arsenal, and they're also suggesting that it's not unusual. And then the Daily Express say on this game that it's a quiet evening by his own standards. I've got to be honest, I thought it was typical Bruno of recent weeks by his own standards. There's lots of stats on Twitter going around that he gave the ball away 34 times in the game. 34 times losing the ball in the game or giving it away is terrible. And what I don't like about stats as well is if you hit a player with a ball, it counts as a it counts as a completed pass. So it's giving you like the passes that were incomplete, but obviously the ball that he gave to Juan Mata that led to the first goal, it's a simple ball into his feet by Donny van der Beek, and he kicks it straight up in the air, and Mata's got to chase it towards his own goal while looking up at it. It was about 20 feet in the air, and then he's got to try and control it, and there's a man behind him who robs him, and they go up and score. Not Donny van der Beek. Bruno was equally to blame for that goal. Obviously, Mata's getting all the criticism. But if the roles were reversed, Juan Mata would have held that ball in, got a touch and tried to lay it off. You know, that's how Mata plays. So I think Bruno there, that goes down as a completed pass, and it's a shocker, and it leads to a goal for them. I remember another crossfield pass that Shaw couldn't quite get under control. It did drop just in front. I mean, he tried to get it under control and it bounced to a defender. Again, that probably goes down as a completed pass, and it's not a good pass, and we lost the ball again. So it's not just about giving the ball away, but sometimes the completed passes are not very good either. I thought Bruno was really poor. They've given him a 5, said he had a quiet evening. I'm giving Bruno 3 out of 10. Juan Mata, they've mentioned in the Express, as I've just said, he lost the ball that led to the goal. They've given him 4 out of 10. I think it's possibly a little bit harsh. He does obviously lose the ball. Knowing Juan, he'll be devastated. He could do better, but he was put into big trouble by his teammate. Big trouble that he probably wouldn't have put his teammate under if it was him receiving the ball. I think 4 might be a little bit harsh, but I'm not sure. I'll stick with the 4, but I don't think he should get as much stick as what he is getting over the goal. It wasn't entirely down to him. Anthony Martial, the Express have given him a 6. I'll stick with a 6. They've said he took his goal well. Couldn't really get involved in the game much after that through lack of service. It might have a point. They might have a point, I should say. I don't think United's formation, well, was there a formation? I've mentioned that, as I've just mentioned the other video, the shambles in Istanbul. The actual formation that United played just doesn't help. It doesn't help anybody, but it's particularly difficult for a number 9. Particularly difficult. No real width, not enough balls coming in the box. Only Shaw on one side and Wan-Bissaka on the other. Rashford playing sort of as a striker alongside him. Bruno as a number 10. You can't have a number 10 and 2 strikers. It's too many. It gets too crowded. Martial is probably going to want to come short for the ball, and Bruno's in his way, and he's probably going to try and shift to his left to make a bit of space, and Rashford's already taking up that space. When you're playing as a striker, sometimes your own players get in the way just as much as the opposite. Well, maybe not just as much, but they do. They take up your space sometimes. And a number 10 playing with 2 strikers just doesn't work, and it'll never be the case. Anybody who can remember it, if you cast your mind back to the great years when we won a treble and we won a few titles. We had Solskjaer and Cole, who were out and out strikers, and we also had York and Sheringham, who were more like number 10s, who used to drop deep looking for the ball. And whatever combination we used, it was very rare that it would have been Cole and Solskjaer together, or Sheringham and York together. Not saying it never happened, but usually it would be either York or Sheringham with Cole or York. A number 9 who wants to put the pressure on, who wants to get in the box, and a number 10, Sheringham or York, coming looking for the ball, laying the ball off, and coming into the box a little bit later, not taking up each other's space. So Bruno at number 10 and 2 strikers, it's not working, and it'll never work. So Anthony Martial, though, partly for those reasons, I think a 6. I think a 6 is fair enough. I don't think it was too bad. They've given Marcus a 4. They've said a strange night for Marcus, ineffective throughout. Tried hard to make something happen. Perhaps he did try hard to make something happen. Sometimes I think Marcus tries too hard, because sometimes I'm not suggesting this was last night, but sometimes he tries to get shots in when he should really be passing it. Just get the ball under control and pass it rather than trying to force the issue. Sometimes we're forcing it when you should just be playing simple football and move the ball around. Not suggesting that was the case last night, but it was a strange night for him. He was ineffective throughout. just as he was against Arsenal on Sunday, by the way, just as he was. So it's not bang unusual at the minute. I know it's only a couple of games ago that he come on as a sub and banged 3 in. Might not be a bad idea to put him on the bench at Goodison and bring him on late on. He might, might come on with a jar of enthusiasm and perhaps score again if he was only to get 15 or 20 minutes. I don't think it'd be a bad move. I really don't. He wasn't good against Arsenal last night. The Daily Express had given him a 5. I'm down marking that to a 4 out of 10 for markers for me. I don't know what you think. Maybe you can put some answers in the comments. See what you all think about it. But I'm not doing player in focus tomorrow. I'll do the player in focus once a week. So I've done one this week on the Arsenal game. Obviously we've got the game at Goodison coming up on Saturday. I'll do the player ratings again on Sunday, and on Monday next week I'll do another player in focus where people can vote, and I can tell you what I think about a given player and explain why I've given such a high mark or such a low mark. I hope you enjoyed the show. If you have enjoyed the show, please subscribe. Please tell all your friends. If you didn't enjoy the show, keep stum.